Good afternoon, everybody. Please fill up the empty seats in front of you. Apart from the labeled seats, please fill up any empty seats in front of you, please. Thank you very much. Any empty seat in front of you, please fill it up. Apart from the labeled seat in front. Ushers, please assist. Empty seats, please fill it up. Thank you very much. Apart from the labeled seat in front, thank you. Good afternoon. Please rise for the Vice Chancellor's procession. The Vice Chancellor's procession is led in here by Mrs. Odia. This procession comprises of the Provost, College of Medical Sciences, the Dean of Postgraduate School, the Dean of Students, Deans of Faculties, Directors of Academic Programs and Institutes, the inaugural lecturer and principal officers of our great university receiving the Vice Chancellor's procession. The national anthem. Greetings to the Thank you very much. Please be seated. Our pragmatic, goal-oriented, and highly esteemed Vice Chancellor, Professor Lilian Imwetian Salami, will be represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Ray Osolo, other principal officers of our great university, the Provost, Deans and Directors, Professors Emeriti, other esteemed professors and erudite scholars here present, top government functionaries, Your Royal Highnesses, greatest university staff and students, invited guests, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you specially to the 311th in the inaugural lecture series of the University of Benin. to be delivered by Professor Mrs. Blessed OGOCHUKWU AGOREYO. Please. She is a professor of plant biochemistry and she will be speaking. Thank you very much. And she the critical role of in the enhancement of health, food security, and foreign exchange earnings. May I now respectfully invite Council, Mr. Ademola Babola, as he introduces the Vice Chancellor and the Vice Chancellor's procession. Please put your hands together.
Madam Vice Chancellor, every represented, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the acting PRO has done justice to the protocol and kindly allow me to continue to abide by the protocol as established. All policies duly extended. I don't know whether the acting Vice Chancellor will give me the permission. I could see that the seat is vacant on this other side of the device. And if I could just commandeer somebody from this other end to come to this seat here, I hope we will not read in the course of this lecture, because the seat is open there. I'm just proposing, but you can allow him to remain where he is. Mr. Acting Vice Chancellor, sir, while you continue to allow him to remain here, kindly permit me to present to us today, very specially, our own Vice Chancellor. I should let us know that we have 272 universities in Nigeria, and there's an association called Association of Vice Chancellors of Nigerian Universities. And incidentally, the chairman of that body happens to be our own dear Vice Chancellor.
Is also the
Vice President of the Association of African Universities. That's the whole of Africa. Professor Lilian Moitian Salami, our Vice Chancellor. Well, you may not, the blessed and those who have not seen yet believe the Vice Chancellor is very much here in our midst, but you may not see her physically. But she has somebody standing in for her this time, a man who you know very well. He is a man who interacts very well with the microphone whenever he comes up. He is the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic and the distinguished Professor of Pharmacy, Professor Ray Ozodwa. The Deputy Vice Chancellor Professor B.A. Ainde is also the Vice Chancellor. The acting boss of this university, Mr. Gabriel Sakalo, is here. The acting university librarian, Walter Choyo Megisi, Esquire. On this other side of the table, we have with us, representing the Provost College of Medical Sciences, Professor David Udo. The acting of postgraduate studies, Professor S.A. Aliu. The number one citizen among the students who we call the number one student on campus. He is the distinguished professor of economics, the dean student affairs, Professor A. Professor Mrs. Idu, and is also the host today. He is an emeritus host, and he will continue to host and host more, because he's always in contention with the medical school that has always produced many inaugural lecturers. But I'm sure the Dean Faculty of Life Sciences is leading the trail to beat the College of Medical Sciences today. Jerry, the Dean Faculty of Life Sciences. The Dean Faculty of Agriculture is represented here by Dr. John Ebotian. Class is also represented here by Professor Ego Nwa. And of course, the Dean School of Basic Medical and Clinical Sciences is represented by Dr. Gerard. The Dean I want to call next is the one that the read was all about him to sit on this other side. Because the seat is reserved for him, but he has the dual role to perform today. He's a Dean I'm always happy to identify with. Otherwise, I would have to give you much. Because the 7th of June, 2023 remains indelible in the life of the inaugural lecturer and this Dean and myself. The story will not be told here today, but we know very well something has put the three of us together. The acting Vice Chancellor is very much aware of this, so I'm covered by his authority. Professor Freddy Agoreyo is the Dean of Basic Medical Science. Faculty of Management Sciences, Professor Inofe. And the Dean School of Medicine, who is also bearing the same birthday with the provost as Wilson. So we have the land of Wilson in the College of Medical Sciences. Dean School of Medicine, Professor Wilson Osaro Giago. Physical Sciences. Dr. Akon Ebio is representing the Director Center for Distance Learning. Center for Entrepreneurship Development, Professor E.E. Ugogiagri. Director Center for International Technology, Professor Hassan Oambena. The Director Technical Center of Excellence for Aquaculture and Food Technology, Professor Mrs. Isioma Opo. I'm sure she's a member of the Faculty of Life Sciences. I think we should give her a round of applause. Engineering Center, ADE, Professor Mrs. T.E. Orugwe, the Director of the Nigerian Counseling, very distinguished Professor Mrs. O.N. Ahiye, the Acting Director, Institute of Education, right from Ekewa Campus, Dr. Mrs. I.F. Yam. Today is a very wonderful day in the life of the inaugural lecturer, myself, and this university. It is my singular honor and privilege to invite you to deliver your address. Thank you, sir.
Something we call crescendo approach. So you move with my hand.
Greatest Uniben. Greatest Uniben. Greatest Uniben.
Thank you very much. As the way we bring ourselves alive. Please permit me to align by the protocol so very well established by the representative of the PRO, but not without recognizing the very senior colleagues here who have served this altar. And I'd like to recognize my mentor, Professor Vincent Yahweh. Thank you for teaching me cardiac cycle. That will always remain with me. I didn't have the opportunity to have been taught by Professor Elafuna, but I told you I'm a fantastic lecturer. Let's applaud him. And of course, for the constituency of the inaugural lecturer, Professor Patrick Wadi. So, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished audience, I bring you very warm greetings from our electable, vivacious, certainly not vicious, Madam Vice Chancellor. Compelled by, or impelled, not compelled by circumstances beyond her control, she has asked me to represent her. She sends her very warm regards. I'll proceed to read her address. It is with delight that I welcome you all to the 311th inaugural lecture series of the University of Benin. Today's lecture is the second to be delivered in my tenure as the Vice Chancellor of this great university. The 10th from the Department of Biochemistry. And the 44th Faculty of Life Sciences. Ladies and gentlemen, I enthusiastically introduce our lecturer for today. She is Professor Mrs. Millicent AGOREYO. The title of the lecture is of Post-Harvest Biochemistry in the Enhancement of Health, Food Security and Foreign Exchange Earnings. Professor Mrs. Blessing AGOREYO was born on 25 in Lagos State to the family of Chief Simeon OGOCHUKWU and Mrs. Beastman Akmuna of the Kano East local government area of Delta State. She attended Christ Apostolic Primary School, Ikeja, Lagos, from 1970 to 1976 for the first school-level certificate. In 1979, she was admitted into the Remarkable Army, Delta State, from where she obtained the West African School Certificate in 1983. She gained admission into the University of Benin in 1986 to study biochemistry and graduated in 1990 Bachelor of Science degree. Professor Mrs. AGOREYO did her 1-year mandatory national service master's degree and in 2007 a PhD degree, both in biochemistry and both from the University of Benin. Of professor in 2016. Several administrative positions within the university. Departmental library officer, member committee for the harmonization of youth program, academia industry interface committee, chairman research and empowerment committee, organization for Women in Science for the Developing World, University of Benin Chapter, Faculty Representative, Intellectual Property and Technology Transfer Committee. Professor Mrs. Agoreyo belongs to several professional bodies and associations. Example, member, the Organization for Women in Science for the Developing World, member, ProMusa Biodiversity International, member, International Society of Horticultural Sciences, fellow, Strategic Institute for Natural Resources and Human Development. Professor Mrs. Agoreyo is a recipient of the following awards: the Women in Science for Developing World Scholar 2003, Third World Academy of Science Postdoctoral Award in 2009, the Academy of Sciences for the Developing World and the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, that is, in 2012. Professor Mrs. Agoreyo has successfully supervised 17 master's theses and co-supervised 1 PhD thesis. She has over 40 articles in peer-reviewed local, national and international journals, and she's a reviewer for many reputable scientific journals. She has served as external examiner to many Nigerian universities. She has attended several local, national and international conferences. Professor Mrs. Agoreyo's hobbies include reading, traveling and mentoring. She is a Christian and a minister of the gospel at Divine Christian Empowerment Ministry, Benin. She is married to her heartthrob, Professor Freddie Agoreyo. And that's the Dean, School of Basic Medical Sciences. You know, sometimes I just wonder who this, the thunderous applause is for, whether it's for the inaugural lecturer or for Professor Agoreyo, the Dean. All right. Well, they are blessed with children. Praise the Lord. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to, on behalf of Madam Vice Chancellor, invite Professor Mrs. Blessing Agoreyo to her inaugural lecture. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor Man. Please permit me to stand on all existing protocols. It is my pleasure to the 311th inaugural lecture of the University of Benin, titled "The Critical Role of Post-Harvest Biochemistry in the Enhancement of Health, Food Security, and Foreign Exchange Earnings." I'm very grateful to God Almighty for keeping me alive in good health, this opportunity to deliver this lecture. I'm very grateful to our amazing and inspiring Vice Chancellor for giving me the approval to deliver this lecture. I'm also very grateful to all our highly esteemed guests for taking out time from their busy schedule to be here. Thank you so much for coming. Our country, Nigeria, with a lot of natural resources, such as oil and gas, mineral resources or solid minerals, water resources, and above all, arable land that is good for cultivation. Nigeria, however, with all these natural endowments, is still bedeviled with the problem of poverty, and the most painful of it currently, food shortage or food scarcity. An important question that must be asked is, why is Nigeria having the problem of food scarcity, even with arable land, water, and sunshine? Because Nigeria is located in the tropics. The answer is not far-fetched. In 1960, at independence, agriculture provided food for the citizens of Nigeria. Our economy was based on agriculture. But in the late 1960s, we shifted our attention from agriculture to oil and gas due to the increase in world oil price. Our economy was now mainly based on oil and gas, which made us to pay little attention to the agricultural sector. It also made us to pay little attention to other sectors such as solid minerals and technology. We also failed to use the great proceeds from oil and gas to further enhance agriculture for the general revenue. We did not also adequately use the proceeds from oil and gas to increase exploitation of solid minerals and to properly improve other sectors such as education, health, and security. The result of our failure is the problem of food scarcity, and that is currently confronting us. When there is no drought in the country, we don't have severe pest infestation or massive flooding, we have practically not taken enough steps to diversify our economy, a situation that is very dangerous, as seen in the economies of some countries that depended on the export of sucrose, the sugar sucrose. These economies, the economy of this country crashed when the major buyer of the sugar sucrose, which is America, decided not to buy the sugar sucrose because they invested in education, technology, so their scientists were able to discover which we call enzymes in biochemistry. And that biological catalyst is glucose isomerase. It can convert glucose to a sugar known as fructose. We all know glucose. We all seated here, whether you're a scientist or you are not a scientist, you know the sugar glucose. So this enzyme, glucose isomerase, can convert glucose to fructose. And fructose happens to be a in fact, it's the sweetest sugar. So, well, they now thought that, why should they be using, buying sucrose when they have a sweeter sugar? They now decided to be converting glucose in glucose corn syrup to high fructose, to convert it to high fructose corn syrup, which they are now using as sweeteners. In America, you will hear a slogan that from cane corn, that is from sugar cane to corn. They are now getting their sweetener from corn. And that's why you see some people, they said, oh, Nigeria, yeah, in America, they subsidize Greek agriculture, and they subsidize agriculture. It's because of the discovery of that singular biological catalyst changed the economy of America. Vice Chancellor, ma'am, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, the buyers of our oil and gas, they've started giving us red flag that oil and gas is causing climate change. Therefore, the will be significantly reduced, which will affect our economy negatively if we do not practically diversify our economy. We so neglected agriculture that people started dying due to during the sales of ordinary rice. losing of lives because of ordinary rice that we can produce, have enough to consume in the country, and also export to get foreign exchange earnings. We also fail to understand that our inability to properly develop our agricultural sector has effects upon our health, because people can no longer eat enough food and good quality food. Healthy. Also, some of the agricultural produce that are tempted to export, they don't meet international standards, like the one they reported about sesame. Yes, the Chinese, they use it in baking a lot, because when I travel down there, in baking, so they need it. But the one they exported, they rejected it because at a pesticide level. The failure to meet international standards may be due to inadequate research in the agricultural sector, because they may not be funded, and proper orientation for the farmers. The current campaign to increase food production in the country is the right step in the right direction, very good. It may not necessarily lead to an increase in food availability or affordability that will be sustainable without adequate post-harvest management and storage, as seen in the case of the rice pyramid that preceded the food shortage that we are currently experiencing. This 311th inaugural lecture, which is the 10th in the Department of Biochemistry and the first to be a professor since the inception of the department in 19. We show the role of post-harvest biochemistry in enhancing health, food security, and foreign exchange earnings. This inaugural lecture will be on this following outline. The introduction. Herbs and fruits, as presented by the Holy Bible, represent all plants on earth that are used as food and medicine. They are collectively known as food and medicinal plants in science. The plants existed before man. The Holy Bible said so, and the scientists, they have also confirmed it, as seen by Slaughter et al. 2011, that the plants existed before man, signifying the importance of proper preparation for man's welfare or well-being, prioritizing adequate welfare for humans, and should be imbibed by all of us, especially our leaders. Madam, 10, prioritizing the welfare of staff and students. Knowledge in various academic disciplines such as and plant biochemistry, where post-harvest biochemistry originated from, have developed over the years as a result of these plants. A particular tree that is scientifically named Musa paradisiaca is commonly used, which is plantain tree, is commonly used to describe the paradise nature that plants confer on the earth. They are so important. These plants are very important for our existence. Therefore, knowing the chemical nature of these plants for the purpose of proper utilization and the enhancement of our existence on this earth is an aspiration to us as plant biochemists, especially post-harvest biochemists. In plant biochemistry, all chemical processes, which we biochemists call metabolic processes, that occur in all plants on earth are studied. These chemical processes include photosynthesis, in which carbon dioxide is used to provide food and oxygen on earth. It also includes respiration, a chemical process that enables the plant to release oxygen and to take in carbon dioxide and to take in oxygen and release carbon dioxide to maintain the natural greenhouse effect and prevent too much cold on earth. Currently, we have the problem of global warming because excessive carbon dioxide is released into the earth because of the burning of coal, oil, and gas. So we have more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere now, and that is why we have the problem of global warming. They say the earth is getting too hot, too hot. The the plants for our own good, so that the earth will not be too cold. That's what we call natural greenhouse effect. Makes it warm. We're able to live on earth. But excessive carbon dioxide release is now making the earth to be too complex. Chemical processes that result in the improvement of food quality and other things, other processes are also in plant biochemistry. Post-harvest biochemistry. Post-harvest biochemistry is an aspect of plant biochemistry that involves the study of chemical processes that take place in plant after harvest. Some of these changes after harvest in plant are important. They increase the quality of the plants. For example, if you harvest plantain, plantain, when the plantain ripens, the quality is enhanced because you cannot eat it. Some are deleterious. They can lead to spoilage. The critical role of post-harvest biochemistry, these post-harvest changes so as to determine the quality of these plants, preserve, increase their usefulness, and prevent post-harvest losses. This critical role of post-harvest biochemists helps in the enhancement of our health, food security, and foreign exchange earning. The post-harvest changes that enhance quality in plants include changes in external attributes such as color and texture. Like I told you, when the plantain ripens, it becomes yellow, changes from green to yellow. It also includes changes in internal attributes such as flavor. When the plantain ripens, it becomes sweeter. Position 2, and medicinal properties. Post-harvest losses occur as a result of these external and internal attributes that enhance the quality of plants. The loss of quality in plants, which is also known as qualitative loss, results in loss of quantity, that is otherwise known as quantitative loss. Post-harvest losses, we are talking about qualitative loss and quantitative loss. Post-harvest losses due to improper handling system, attacked by pathogens such as microorganisms, attacked by pests like weevils, and poor post-harvest storage system are higher in developing countries than in developed countries. This indicates increasing food production alone without proper post-harvest management will not necessarily translate into increased food availability and affordability. Therefore, if food production is increased, we have adequate reduction in post-harvest losses, it will result in increased availability, affordability, prevention of food, prevention of food shortage or scarcity, and food security. Contribution to post-harvest biochemistry. My contribution, my research. We worked on food plants that are used as staples, fruits and vegetables. We also worked on mushrooms, medicinal plants, and molecular biology of post-harvest plants. Post-harvest changes that take place. We looked at the post-harvest changes that take place in plantain and banana. Preserve their quality. We studied them in order to preserve their quality and increase their usefulness. Oh, you will say, but we have a lot of plantains and bananas here. Very good. But there are some countries where they don't have them. They don't even cultivate them. Weather will not allow them. So we are going to do something. Important in health. It can be eaten in your ripe, and overripe stage based on one's health status. unlike banana that can only be eaten in the ripe stage. But do you know that banana has global demand, global acceptance? Why plantain that can be eaten in the ripe and overripe stages does not have enough global demand? Therefore, we decided that we are going to carry out researches in order to increase the use of plantain globally so that it can enhance the health of people, increase food security, and also attract foreign exchange earnings to our country. So we do well. And this happens to be the similar objectives of University International. This is an association created by the World Bank and the International Network for the Improvement of Banana and Plantain. And I am a member of that association. In order to increase the usefulness of, we looked at the changes in the activities of biological catalysts, which I told you, we, the biochemists, we call them enzymes. These biological catalysts, because when plantains and bananas, they ripen, you have the conversion of starch to sugar. Unripe plantain is not as sweet as the ripe plantain because you have more sugar in the ripe plantain and even the overripe plantain. So we decided to study the biological catalysts. You should know that biological catalysts are important. Biological catalysts, the economy of some country crashed, while America, the economy of where. So post-harvest plantain in this study were stored at room and refrigerated temperatures. We saw that significant increase was observed in the activity of the biological catalysts that were kept at room temperature in both the pulp and peel. When we say pulp, the inner flesh that we normally eat, the peel. The enzyme activity increased in both the pulp and peel. Then we noticed that those ones that were stored in refrigerated temperature, that's the refrigerator, showed lower enzyme activities, and the plantains did not ripen. You can see the result here. This is an enzyme known as phosphorylase, in which the activity of those stored at room temperature, 26 degrees Celsius, you can see higher than that of those stored at 14 degrees Celsius. That's refrigerated temperature. This is for amylase. Amylase is one of the enzymes that can convert starch to sugar. Then you have the invertase. We now concluded that if we have good large-scale cold storage facilities that can help to lower the activities of these enzymes or these biological catalysts, suppress unwanted ripening, it will also increase the shelf life of plantain and bananas and prevent post-harvest losses. So we can use the plantains and bananas when we want, and we can also export them. If you meet all these sellers of fruits, they will tell you that they have a problem, that these food plants are highly perishable. Also, large-scale cold storage facilities will also help to enhance the usefulness of this plantain and prevent post-harvest losses, like I said earlier on. Moreover, the use of good large-scale cold storage facilities that use solar energy will be useful in helping to increase the availability of plantain throughout the year for local consumption and also for exports, so that we can be getting some cool foreign exchange earnings from it. Uganda is doing that, and we can do it if we are ready. From our studies, we also observed that the peel of plantain could be used to compound animal feed for livestock because it contains starch. Yes, it is because there is starch in it. That's why we saw that the the activity, we saw that the biological catalyst, the activity increased, although it was suppressed because of the cold, the refrigerated temperature. But the starch there, that's why they had this, we call it substrate in biochemistry. They have the substance that they work on. They have it, the reactants. That's why they were able to convert to products, the sugar that we measured. We therefore carried out a research on the use of plantain peels as feed for livestock, as shown below. We decided to replace we decided to use plantain peel to replace grass mash at 0%, 50%, 80%, and 100% to feed experimental rats, and we looked at the effects. We saw that dry plantain peels could be used to compound cheaper and cost-effective livestock feed, which can serve as alternative livestock from the conventional livestock feed that uses maize. And we know we need maize. We need to consume maize. Human beings, we need maize to eat maize. But we observe that if you use only plantain peel, it's the weight of the animal may not do well. So you have to use it to compound, add protein to it that will make the animal to grow well. These are we got in week 4. You can see the control. The weight of the animal is 182. That's average weight. That's average weight, 182.70. The one that we use 50%, we added 50% dried ripe plantain peel and 50% grass mash. The weight is 178.10. Yes, it's favorably comparing with that of the animals that took 100% grass mash. Therefore, utilizing fresh peels of ripe plantain to compound feed for animals could help to reduce the use of maize that is meant for human consumption for livestock feed. And thank you very much. Of dry ripe plantain peels, we also reduce maize, thereby increasing food security and creating weight from agricultural waste. What we say is waste, you just peel the plantain, throw it away. Oh, we can use it to compound feed for animals. The livestock industry needs in reducing the cost of nation better and enhance food security. We also conducted another research on both plantain and banana, the changes in the activities of those biological catalysts that I told you earlier on that convert starch to sugars. We observed that these biological catalysts that convert starch to sugar are higher in plantain than in banana, as seen in this result, these tables. Enzyme in plantain shows that plantain has higher starch content than. Therefore, if we suppress the activities of the enzyme in both biological catalysts in both plantain and banana through cold storage, it will help to delay their ripening and we will use them very well. Cold storage is a type of storage method that developed countries, they used to make banana always available throughout the year. In fact, if you enter those supermarkets abroad, you will buy bananas. I say you will buy bananas because they look good. It can also be used by us to make plantain and banana always available in the tropical countries, especially Nigeria, them, especially by using solar energy to drive the cold storage. Vice Chancellor Ma'am, our highly esteemed guest, it is actually very disheartening to observe that developed temperate countries that do not cultivate bananas have fresh, good quality bananas for consumption throughout the year because of good post-harvest management. While some developing tropical countries like ours that cultivate bananas do not have fresh, good quality bananas for consumption throughout the year because of poor post-harvest management. We went further to look at the effect of post-harvest handling, because we saw that poor post-harvest handling always occur before plants get to consumers. You see some when they are coming from, they said the markets, village market. If you see the way they carry those food plants, those bananas, they need orientation. So we look at the effect of post-harvest handling on banana, plantain and pawpaw. AGOREYO et al. 2003b, AGOREYO et al. 2003c. We observed that microorganisms were present in the unripe, ripe, and overripe stages of the plantain and pawpaw. 4. Proper post-harvest handling and storage, including pre-harvest, even before they are very important in order to prevent post-harvest wastage, and also to prevent the transmission of microbial infection from plants to consumers, so as to prevent ill health and enhance consumers' health. Apart from the method of refrigeration or cold storage, we went further to use post-harvest technology to enhance the shelf life of plantain. How did we do it? We did it by controlling a gas known as ethylene. This gas, we call it a plant hormone. When you say hormone, it can work on tissues, work on plantain. Those ones, not ethylene now, those hormones in man, they work on man. So we look at this one. This one is plant, so plant hormone, ethylene. We decided to control the production of of ethylene. AGOREYO et al. 2007. What we did was that we constructed laboratory scale storage chamber. Actually, this laboratory scale storage chamber were constructed by our post-harvest team of researchers at the University of West Indies, Mona, Jamaica. So we have 2 laboratory scale storage chambers. One contains normal air, which we call regular atmosphere, the one we are breathing in. It has 21% oxygen. Then the second one contained 5% oxygen. We modified it. We use both nitrogen gas, expel the regular atmosphere, and allow the air to be modified to give us the 5% oxygen. This research was supported by a PhD fellowship from the Organization of Women in Science for the Developing World. These are the laboratory scale storage chambers. Storage chamber A has regular atmosphere, that is the normal air we breathe in, having 21% oxygen. The storage laboratory scale storage chamber B has control atmosphere with diffusion channel. That's the oxygen in the storage chamber B has 5%, is 5%. And we were now decided to look at that hormone, the plant hormone, the ethylene. We observed that in the storage chamber A that has normal air with 21% oxygen, ethylene was synthesized. And you can see the sharp increase, then sharp decrease. We were able to detect ethylene. But the storage chamber that has 5% oxygen, we did not detect ethylene. That's the all those red lines we are seeing there. Now, the results. After storage, the plantain stored at regular atmosphere ripened. While plantain stored at control atmosphere did not ripen. So we could control the ripening process to our own favor. Thank you so much. Then, to confirm that ethylene was, we have already detected it, was actually synthesized because we are biochemists. We now decided to look at the enzyme that produces ethylene, that is responsible for the synthesis of ethylene, which is known as ACC oxidase. When you talk about oxidase in biochemistry, we are telling you that it requires oxygen to function. So we look at that enzyme in both the pulp and peel of diced plantain now that were ripened at a regular atmosphere. And we observe that the same pattern was seen. If you look at sprung green, more green than yellow stage, you see that from sprung green stage to more green than yellow, there is a sharp increase in ethylene synthesis and decrease in more green than yellow stage. So the same thing, that pattern of sharp increase, sharp decrease was also observed when we study the biological catalyst, ACC oxidase. We also found out that enzymes that are responsible for softening, because when plantain and banana, when they ripen, they become soft. Some enzymes, biological catalysts, are responsible for the softening. We decided to also study them, check their activities. And we saw that they increased as the plantain ripened in both pulp and peel. Then we now use chemical substances known as sodium diethionate, and sodium metabisulfite that can remove oxygen from the system. To remove oxygen from the system and check if this plantain will still ripen. Since we have removed oxygen, the plantains did not ripen and they did not soften. Therefore, lowering the percentage of oxygen through the use of controlled atmosphere, we reduce the activities of biological catalysts such as ACC oxidase and all those textural enzymes that soften plantain and increase the shelf life of plantain. The use of cold storage, controlled atmosphere, or a combination of both methods is very useful in developing and opening up the Nigerian plantain and banana industry. It can happen. It can happen. In order to encourage the production of good quality food plants, enhance the nation's health, provide employment, increase national food security, increase export for the purpose of generating foreign exchange, and consequently increase world food security. I know that my association, Biodiversity International, they are ready for the increase of world food security. Moreover, storage of post-harvest food using natural method and production of food plants using organic method are more acceptable presently than genetically modified food. We now went further to use the same cold and controlled atmosphere post-harvest technology to prevent ripening in purple. We also saw that sharp increase in the ethylene, and the purple that produced the sharp increase in ethylene, where we detected ethylene, ripened. The ones that did not produce ethylene did not ripen. We went further to use the same technology to delay ripening in breadfruits, and we saw that there's sharp increase, although in breadfruit the controlled atmosphere showed some ethylene, but it was not enough to ripen the breadfruit. And the breadfruit stored at regular atmosphere ripened. The ones stored at controlled atmosphere did not ripen. Breadfruit is a starchy food that is a staple in the West Indies. Very nice. They eat it with what is known as ackee. Breadfruit and ackee is their staple. Very delicious. Cold storage, when used on breadfruit leads to hardening of the internal flesh. The starch in it becomes hardened. So the best way to prevent ripening in breadfruit in order to avoid wastage, post-harvest losses, is to use control atmosphere with diffusion channel, reducing the oxygen, instead of putting it in the refrigerator that can harden the internal flesh. Control atmosphere post-harvest technology can help the agricultural sector to increase the shelf life of food plants in order to meet the nation's local consumption and end us change earnings if we are ready. Our highly esteemed guest, it has been reported that control atmosphere post-harvest technology can be used to store grains for 5 years. 5 years, 5 good years. You store grains. Control atmosphere post-harvest technology helps to reduce post-harvest losses, make grains readily available in order to prevent the problem of food shortage or food scarcity. The problem of food shortage or scarcity in our country, Nigeria, can be prevented if we increase food production and also apply post-harvest technology, such as the use of silos with control atmosphere, that we at least store our grains to the next harvest season. Not for 5 years, just till we harvest our plants. We went further in our research to isolate an enzyme that's a biological catalyst that causes softening in plantain, and the name is galactosidase. This enzyme converts a sugar known as lactose. It is found in milk, converts it to glucose and galactose. There are some people, when they take milk, they start having discomfort in their tummy. We say that they are lactose intolerance. They cannot tolerate that lactose. So this galactosidase can be used to break down that sugar, convert it to glucose and galactose, a sugar that sugars that they can tolerate, and they can now drink milk, take dairy products easily. Agoreyo and Golden, 2012. Catalyst application were also found in the harvest plantain. These biological catalysts include superoxide dismutase. This superoxide dismutase removes chemical substances from plantain that can damage the tissues of the plantain. In human, it also removes all those chemical substances that can damage our organs and cause us diseases. And those chemical substances that can damage organs are known as free radicals. So, detect these catalysts, Agoreyo and Igbine 7. SOD, which is superoxide dismutase, is used in pharmaceutical industry to prevent free radical-induced diseases such as inflammation and cancer. They say prevention is better than, prevention is better than cure. It is also used in cosmetic industry to protect free radicals from damaging our bodies. Plantain peel is a good source of this enzyme. We went further to use to check for vitamin C, vitamin A, and carotenoids of plantain. And we observed that these antioxidants, we call them antioxidants because they can remove the free radicals. They increase in plantain during storage. And the ability to remove these free radicals, we also saw that they increase as plantain ripens or as banana ripens. Agoreyo et al. 2003, Agoreyo et al. 2017. One thing that is so great about the antioxidants in plantain and banana is that their capability to remove free radicals is even higher than the drug vitamin C. I must say, to us here, and also to all that are those people that are listening to me all over the world, that plantains are not inferior to bananas as sources of antioxidants, and in terms of antioxidant activity, thus their consumption, not only regionally in some countries, but all over the world, is recommended. We went further to look at the carotenoid and vitamin E levels of various pawpaw, very nice fruits. There's something we saw. We saw that the carotenoid in pawpaw, because there are majorly two types of carotenoid. We call one lycopene, the other one beta carotene. Beta carotene is also present in tomatoes. That's why people take tomatoes, so that it can remove those bad substances, those chemicals that can destroy the organs and cause diseases. We saw that pawpaw, the two varieties of pawpaw had like only that they had beta carotene, and beta carotene is required to synthesize vitamin A that is good for the eyes. Therefore, that for you to have good eyesight, eat pawpaw. It is good for you. It is good for you. We went further to dry fruit plants in order to preserve them and increase their shelf life. Our studies show that fruit drying techniques such as sun, oven, and solar, they are able to preserve the nutrients in fruit plants without loss of. But solar and oven drying are more hygienic and faster than sun drying. So, in summary, the use of and proper post-harvest handling, drying techniques will help us to increase the shelf life of food plants, prevent post-harvest losses, and enhance our health. Because if you eat food contaminated with microbes, the person may be going down with illness. And it will also increase food security and generate foreign exchange earning. We studied the effect of using carbide to ripen plants. Very, very important. We observed that calcium and iron levels were reduced in plantains that were ripened with calcium carbide. If you are eating plantain or any fruit ripened with calcium carbide, you will not be getting enough calcium and iron, but you will think you are taking fruits. Even some people will tell you, oh, I know of a sister, I will not take fruit. I said, no. Federal Agricultural and the Food and Agricultural Organization of United Nations said we should eat 5 portions of fruit per day. WHO said you must eat fruit to be healthy. So how do we do it? Our food sellers are using carbide to ripen the fruits. Yeah. I think the problem has to do with us too, because we neglected agriculture. Yeah. Eating of good quality fruit is compulsory. We will not take away the source of livelihood of the sellers of fruit because they need it to survive. Therefore, we must give them orientation on how to ripen these fruits. That's why we do research. When we find out our findings, we go and teach them, give them orientation on how to do it. In order to stay healthy. If we say it doesn't concern us, you will go there and buy those fruits. So we must do something. Glucose and vegetables are very good for people that are healthy, no problem. But if you have disease conditions like obesity, you need to regulate the glucose that you. We therefore decide to check the glucose level of various food plants, and we observe that eggplant and other plantain have very low glucose. So they are good for weight reducing programs and patients with diabetes. We also saw that the effect of ripening of these eggplants increased with ripening, and their antioxidant capacity, ability to remove those dangerous chemicals that destroy the body increase too with ripening. These are our eggplants. Some of us have not seen a ripening eggplant because we always eat them at the unripe stage, top, but they can ripen. You have the unripe, the ripe, and overripe. The overripe is the red one. They can ripe, and that overripe one is loaded with antioxidants that can remove those dangerous chemicals in your body that can destroy your health. We look at, thank you. We look at the carotenoid, the E levels of cooking eggplants. These cooking eggplants, we don't eat them raw. We look at them, but we observe that there's a difference. These cooking eggplants, when you keep them, their carotenoid and vitamin E level decrease, unlike those ones that ripen. These ones, they don't ripen. And we saw that if you keep them in a refrigerated temperature, the nutrients will be preserved. These are the cooking eggplants. See, those ones kept at room temperature started shrinking. Now, we now decided to look at the eggplant. It was carried out in the Institute of Plant and Microbial Biology, Academic Sinica, sponsored by the World Academy of Science and UNESCO. We stored eggplants at different temperature, 25 degree at room temperature, 4 degree refrigerated temperature, and 35 degrees Celsius. We saw that those ones that were stored at refrigerated temperature did not shrink. The nutrients were preserved. The ones stored at room temperature shrank, but the shrinking was higher in those stored at 35 degrees Celsius. You can see them. These are the eggplants stored at room temperature, refrigerated condition, room temperature, and you see that one stored at 5 degrees Celsius, shrinking terribly. And these are the internal flesh. A, stored in refrigerated temperature. B, in room temperature. C, can't you see how the thing shrank? Lost a lot of nutrients. Then we also detected the proteins. The proteins in these eggplants, we saw that they contain proteins known as glutenin. The protein in eggplants, glutenin, is the same protein in wheat. We also saw another protein known as legumin in eggplant, which is similar to the protein in beans. So if you are eating eggplant, it's like you are eating beans and wheat. That same protein, glutenin, is found in rice. So if you are eating eggplant, it's like you are eating rice and beans. There are other proteins we saw. These are, thank you. These are the protein spots. These are the protein spots that we use to identify these proteins. Then we look at the amino acid. All these peaks you are seeing, they show amino acid. Amino acid, they make up the protein. Control, you see a lot of amino acid. Look at 35. 35 at day 14. Are there so many? No, they were reduced. So if you look at the amino acid too, at 35, the last one, the last column there, you see that you see NO, those amino acids. We look at mushroom, and we saw that when you preserve mushroom for a long time, it can be used as for medicinal purposes. But when it's fresh, you can use them as drugs. We also isolated compounds, medicinal compounds from mushroom. These are the compounds we look at some medicinal plants. We isolated compounds from these medicinal plants that have anti-cancer properties. Lastly, we look at the molecular biology of plants, because these plants, if you identify them, if you use just seeing physical, we call it morphological identification, you may not get it. So we use molecular biology, we add it to, we identify plantain in Jamaica and recommendation. We recommend that the efforts that the country, the federal government and state government, they are using to produce, to increase food production, should also be used for post-harvest storage. They must store food. Then we said that as a matter of urgency, they should diversify the economy. Sectors. Then we also recommend that they provide infrastructure such as road, other things, road and security that will help our farmers, and even silos that will help our farmers to farm. Working citizens must invest in agric and post-harvest. Then proper way to export our goods, our agricultural goods should be shown to the people who are ready to export goods. Then we must be fair to the farmers, value them, give them orientation using our research findings, provide equipment for them. Then they should fund post-harvest research, and we must eat quality food. Healthy. Conclusion. So if you increase the production of food without proper post-harvest, it's a waste of time, because we come and eat them up, they will just go bad. So post-harvest study is important, and post-harvest biochemistry is important to eliminate post-harvest losses, ill health, and food security. I want to thank God for His goodness. I want to thank the Vice Chancellor. I want to thank all our Vice Chancellors. I want to thank my colleagues in the Department of Biochemistry. We have been there for over 30 years doing biochemistry, speaking the language of biochemistry, and we are now speaking it here in the public. Thank you so much. Professor Wanze, Professor Campbell, Professor Nagbe, Professor Wazda, thank you for coming, even though he has retired. Professor Suba, Professor B, Professor Yeneke, my wonderful HOD. Professor Kole, thank you for coming. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Professor Eri Alemu Obodeke, I can see Professor Mrs. Adaiko, Professor Mrs. Wadia, thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to thank my in-law department, physiology department, Professor Bika. Thank you, Papa Iyawe, I'm very grateful, sir. Thank you, sir, I appreciate it. Who came to give me books to make sure I deliver a good inaugural lecture. Professor Igwanaje, I want to appreciate Professor Keme, Professor Mrs. Okeme, Professor OGOCHUKWU, thank you, ma'am, for coming. Farm and Dr. Mrs. Dele. Okay, I thank you. CS Richard Balogu and family. I appreciate all my colleagues all over the faculty. Professor Igbojo, thank you. I'm seeing you there. My parents and my husband. I want to thank my husband for giving me support behind every successful work. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Please celebrate our lecturer. Celebrate our lecturer. That was an amazing lecture. Thank you. That was an amazing lecture, intelligently delivered. Celebrate our lecturer one more time. Thank you very much. May I now respectfully invite the acting Vice Chancellor, Professor Ray Ozolowa, to give a lecture. Please put your hands together.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, first, a round of applause for, please listen, a round of applause for Professor Freddy Agoreyo. And I'll tell you why. He actually stimulated some of the applauses. They began with him. And I was asking myself whether he was trying to prevent post-inaugural lecture strike by the wife. But the applause truly to Professor Mrs. Blessing Agoreyo. You will agree with me that she's truly a biochemist, a plant biochemist. So I believe, and I suppose you believe so too, that tomatoes and pepper bad in her home. I suppose so. No bad yam, because she knows what to do. Professor A.C. Ogo, I recognize you, sir. Yes. Please, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to recapitulate some aspects of this great lecture. Every inaugural lecture is unique. Sorry, I have the wrong something. Give me the other one there. Sorry. I seem to have. I think that Okay, I think this, yes. All right. Every inaugural lecture is indeed unique. Our inaugural lecturer has reminded us that the existence of man wouldn't be possible without plants. Remember nothing in elementary biology, we do remember biosynthesis. So plants play important roles as sources of food, medicine, and so on. Please remember that the 150th in our inaugural lecture series is titled, "And the leaves of the trees shall be for the healing of the nation." Plants serve aesthetic purposes and are sources of income to man. She has told us that the maximum benefits derivable from using plants as food and medicines depend on the knowledge of their composition and quality. Optimal benefits, she says, are dependent on proper handling and storage after the plants have been harvested. Of course, deterioration starts immediately plants have been harvested. She has told us that the current campaign to increase food production, though commendable, may not necessarily lead to sustainable increase in food availability, accessibility, and affordability if we do not pay attention to adequate post-harvest management of our produce. She has worked extensively on post-harvest biochemistry, and findings from her research will help in providing the best storage for optimal benefits to the farmers and indeed the nation. As she spoke, I wondered if our agricultural woes would not have been on account of failure to utilize the knowledge of post-harvest biochemists. Truly, if applied, knowledge of post-harvest biochemistry will prevent the losses that result in food insecurity and poor foreign exchange earnings. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to put a seal to her professorship with another round of applause.
Please put your hands on Vice Chancellor. Our acting Vice Chancellor will now decorate our inaugural lecturer, and we invite her immediate family to come up stage to support her as she gets decorated. Children, please come up stage. Children, grandchildren, please come up stage. Please come up stage. Come up stage and support her. You can take pictures up stage. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. While that is going on, please put your hands together for the spouse of our inaugural lecturer, Professor Freddie AGOREYO. Also put your hands for their children, pharmacist Ogenemaru AGOREYO. Please put your hands together. Immediate family members, please. Please put your hands together for the children of our inaugural lecturer, pharmacist Ogenemaru AGOREYO, Miss Miracle AGOREYO, Miss Favor AGOREYO. Also put your hands together for other family members, Mrs. Simon Choice, Mrs. Cedric Helen, Mrs. Ekukwama Moses Ugo. Please put your hands together. We welcome you, former provost, Professor Bishop Vincent Yahweh. You're welcome, sir. Former Deputy Vice Chancellor, Ekenwan Campus, Professor Joel Abulagba. Put your hands together. Please put your hands together. Thank you very much. The immediate past university librarian, we welcome you, sir. The former acting Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Professor Maureen Ebonyi, we welcome you. Please put your hands together. Professor Afuna, you're welcome. Professor Sir Ugu, you are welcome. Professor Mrs. OGOCHUKWU, you're welcome. Please put your hands together. Professor Patrick Oaja, you're welcome. Professor Proc Adobame, you're most. Professor Mrs. Eruke Egbagbe, you're together. Put your hands together. Thank you very much. Professor Rachel Nimenibo Oaja, you're welcome. Professor Martina Awele Adwa. Professor Felix Urobe Aigbo John, you're welcome. Please put your hands together. Professor Mrs. Faustina Idu, you're welcome. She gave a wonderful inaugural lecture last week. Please put your hands together for her. Thank you very much. Professor Ngozi Okoli, you're welcome. Professor Sonny Okegbeme, you're welcome. Professor Solomon Omonigo, you're very welcome. Professor and Dr. Mrs. Andrew Edo, you're welcome. All members of Divine Christian Empowerment Ministry, you're very welcome. Please put your hands together. And of course, all students here present, you're welcome. Please celebrate yourselves. Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that's how we conclude the 311th in the inaugural lecture series of the University of Benin. Please put your hands together. Very much. Please rise for the Uniben anthem and the second stanza of the national anthem.